We're getting this as close as possible. Is it focusing?
There we go. Oh,
I mean,
see it.
that's right there.
There we go.
And if you can, maybe side eye like Luke out towards like a little further out.
We forgot about the most important prop, so we got to take some more photos.
Take 2.
Listen, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. You saw the title of this video and clicked on it, so I'm just going to give it to you straight. I, Sam Liu, a fresh 30-year-old, have spent the last 29 years making a lot of poor decisions in life. For years, I followed trends rather than my own actual interests simply because I wanted to appease other people. I struggled in school, wasted money on trivial things like meeting actors at Comic-Con conventions for a mere 5 seconds just to receive validation on social media. I refused to work out, became overweight, trauma dumped on friends, and blamed every single insecurity I ever had on other people rather than looking inward. And all of those choices were made because I was an insecure, self-hating Chinese American man who didn't love himself. Fortunately, I realized that I didn't want to keep going down that path. I didn't want to become someone that was constantly chasing clout and fame all the time, like a wannabe TikTok influencer with main character syndrome that you see getting called out on an episode of Dr. Phil, or a cringeworthy Disney adult that gets roasted by Caleb Hammer on an episode of Financial Audit. But rather, I wanted to be seen as an actual quality human being with real relationships, real achievements, and a real sense of self. Unlike most of my peers, I'm not married, I don't have kids, and I still live with my parents because I can't afford my own housing yet. My life hasn't gone the way that I've wanted it to go, and as far as society is concerned, I'm very far behind in life. And all of those things I mentioned, those are all things that I still want, and I have none of them at 30. Despite all of that and what society might say, I don't see myself as falling behind. Before I turned 30, I brought together some of my closest friends and my brother to not just celebrate this milestone, but also to reflect on who I used to be, the struggles I had to overcome, and capture who it is that I'm becoming now, shaped in part by new influences and people that have pushed me toward the person I am today. Someone more confident, more self-loving, and someone who has fully embraced his Chinese American background. This is what the end of my 20s looked like, and it started right here, a commemorative photo shoot honoring 3 very special actors that have inspired me to be the best version of myself. Simu Liu from Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Quan from Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Wang from Karate Kid Legends and The Long Walk, and celebrating this new chapter of life with some very special people.
That's still...
I don't know if it's like a tie shirt. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
I mean, you can style it as like that's
Yeah,
fine.
that's what I'm thinking.
If that's how it is, that's fine.
My name's Christian. I'm 24, and today I get to take some pictures of Sam in his cosplay outfits. My first impression of Sam was just a really fun guy to be around, and just full of like energy and joy, and quickly found out that he was just very passionate about movies, which I love movies and went to film school, and so it was pretty easy to connect with him, and he was just a lot of fun to be around, and that was just the start of getting to know him a lot more over the years.
My name is Tyler Esposito. I am 27 years old. I am a licensed professional counselor. My first impression of Sam when I first met him, I just remember, I think I may have jumped into a conversation. I remember something about him memorizing all of the Titanic.
Jack, Mr. Dawson, it's been a pleasure. I sought you out to thank you, and now I have thanked you.
And you've insulted me.
Well, you deserved it.
Right.
Right.
I've seen it since, but at the time I didn't see it. I hadn't seen the movie, but I knew it was not a short movie. And so I think part of me was like, that's wild. And so we got into a conversation about some of the movie stuff and hearing a little bit about what he did. And it was just cool. He struck me as a very passionate person, very, very driven towards what he liked to do, what he wanted to do.
How's it going, guys? So my name is Luke Gualiardo. I am 27 years old, and I am the host of the Campfire Council podcast. If you guys ever want to go check them out, we're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. So I remember meeting Sam off the bat, super genuine, nice, funny guy, nerdy, which is great because I'm also nerdy. I love people that are passionate about the things that they love and are just willing to connect with other people. And Sam just felt like very good at just wanting to get to know me off the bat when we didn't have that connection before.
We're gonna try to recreate this. I think it's Stebbins actor and Ben who played Hank. So we're gonna try to recreate this. We have a yoga mat right here, so we're gonna see.
Yeah. So before we do this, you're gonna have to Give me your hands first.
My hands. Okay, so my hands.
Yeah.
1 second.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Gosh, I swear if we fall,
Now
this,
you need to put your hips.
my hips. Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
That's it.
We got
That's
it.
close. Well, his legs are straighter in it.
Oh, is it straight? Oh god.
That was close. That was basically it. That was basically it.
Hold on.
Are we good?
That's pretty close.
Let's see.
Let's
It's
see.
not like straight up, but like
Let's
the
see.
thing is, there's no accounting for height here.
Oh yeah, dude, you're like
Yeah.
planking it up.
Oh,
Man.
that looks good. That looks good. All right. Well, Ben, if you you see this, we gave it our best. So
Yeah, you did.
yeah. Luke, how do you think we did?
I think it looks good. It's harder than it looks.
Yeah. No, you guys did great.
My name is Joey DeGuy. I am also a member of the Campfire Council, and I'm 28 years old, and I live here in Wisconsin. We knew Sam, but we didn't know Sam. So what I mean by that is he was in our comment section for our podcast on YouTube, and he was always commenting on our videos, and we're like, wow, this guy he absolutely loves just like commenting, and like that's great. Like we didn't have a ton of interaction early on, so it was cool to see. We were talking about the podcast with some other friends, and he had mentioned, he's like, oh, I'm that person that's been commenting on your videos, because we were so new, so fresh, that there wasn't a ton, and we got to make that connection. It was already like a full circle moment. Like we already knew Sam based off of his comments that he made on our YouTube video, but also we got to like meet him.
So when we had Sam on the podcast the first time, what stood out to me is that Sam learned through media is actually a really cool way of like how God spoke to Sam, how he was learning how to just live in like his own skin with some like insecurities and everything that he had going on. And Christ showed him through media and how much he loves him and how much value Sam has. And I thought that was really cool that Sam was able to share that with us. And the second time we had him on, he just seemed more confident, more comfortable in who he was and his identity. And to see Sam's growth, knowing Sam for 2 years from day one when we first met him to now seeing him to where he's at today, it's a really incredible journey. It's really encouraging to see.
So I am Spencer, and I'm 24 years old, and the shoot has been incredible. Sam has put this together. It's been amazing. The costumes, out of this world, and it's just been fun. It's been good to have community and work on a creative project together. I would say the first time, I believe it was at men's retreat a few years ago, and really it was Sam's energy, the life that came out of him. It was just so enjoyable to like hear his passion about movies and about games, and I think that was my initial impression, was just how much energy and life Sam has.
I think Sam was in his shell, a little reserved, probably kind of kept to himself a little bit more, in the sense of he was comfortable about talking about certain things, and some things he was maybe a little bit more vague on. Honestly, seeing him that second time on the podcast, he was an entirely different person. And I say that because like physically he started karate, and so he lost a ton of weight, and that was like the first thing I noticed, and I was like, holy cow, like Sam has physically changed.
I remember you walking in, you're like, I need another. And
Exactly. Yeah. I wouldn't even knock. I just barge in.
Yep, it was great.
I remember even myself, like with the amount that we've had, I was like, all right, Sam, we might need to have you take a little easy here. Like, just
Exactly.
make sure you're not having too much.
And then his personality changed. I think he really grew out of that shell, because I think the two worked hand in hand. I think that through him physically changing also led to him changing mentally and growing as a person, maturing, and really stepping more into his faith and learning more about himself.
Hey guys, my name is Jim. I'm Sam's older brother, and I'm under 100. Tell you, Sam was an angry kid. Sometimes he'd lash out and we have no reason why, although everything's 20/20 in hindsight, but back then, he'd lash out. Everyone would try to figure out, hey, what the heck are we doing wrong? Like, is everything okay? I think that's part of it. The other part is, Sam just didn't seem to love himself, and that also came off in a cynical way. Didn't love the face that he was born with, didn't love the color of his skin, didn't like his social standings, at school. So it was a lot of things.
I remember feeling very insecure around the color of my skin, the shape of my eyes, my height, all those things, because back then, if you saw Asian American men, let alone short Asian American men, we were usually used as a punchline and something to be laughed at. And I've seen that reflected in my own life as well, where people would make a mockery of that and sort of telling me that I'm somehow less than other people. And it's a sharp contrast to where now, media portrayals that have since made me feel much more comfortable in my own skin. And I think it's a really big deal because it's allowed me to feel more, not just confident, but more comfortable and accepting the fact that, you know what, this is the way that God designed me. And seeing those media portrayals has made me feel a lot more comfortable in accepting who I've always been designed to be, rather than taking liberties and saying, I don't want to be myself.
So when I have kids, they're going to be really weird looking because they're going to be half Asian and half regular. And people are always like, you don't like Asian guys? I'm like, no, I like regular people.
In fact, there was points where for my birthday wish legit was, I wish I was a tall white man because tall white men were not degraded. And I've seen that the media also informed the way that my peers viewed me.
Do you find Asian guys attractive? You don't?
I apologize, but I do not find Asian men attractive, no.
Whoa, all right. Go ahead. And you?
Yeah, I don't really either.
You don't either?
No offense to anyone.
Whoa, all right, where do you think that's from? Do you have any thoughts on that? Dude, hang on, Jack, come here a second. Look at this guy. Come on, man, he's like a really handsome dude. What's not attractive about him?
Okay, so he looks nice. I think the issue is that I grew up around white people, so in movies and media you portray white guys as attractive, and also as the only Asian person. Every Asian guy I've been around with, people assume they're my brother.
So for one, it would be you're romantically undesirable because the media have created this narrative that Asian men, we are not desirable to have as friends or romantic partners.
See, I know her and my name's on the list. Hun Lee.
Honey, if I was a fat girl and your name was Sarah Lee, you still wouldn't be getting me.
So it's a really big deal that those portrayals are here now, because now I am not just a better person to myself, but I'm also a better person to others. I don't hurt myself more than I hurt my friends or my family members, and that is a really, really great feeling. And I think people really scoff at the idea that representation, it's representation, it's lazy, but I don't think one could really understand how important representation is until you're on the other side of it. When I was younger, I lived, the subdivision I lived in, it was divided very weirdly from when I was in grade school up to high school. From kindergarten all the way up to 8th grade, I was in one school district, but when I got to high school, I had to go to a different high school because our subdivision was divided awkwardly.
We lived kind of on the edge of our school district, so when high school came around, everyone kind of dispersed, and Sam went to a different high school. So new social circle, that means a lot of lost connections, and just never really found the right footing in high school, and then I think that affected his social development a lot.
That's also when a new show called Two Broke Girls came on the air, and it had a very problematic portrayal of a short Asian American guy, and almost every episode, the main characters in that show would be making a mockery of him.
I have a secret.
You're a woman trapped in a man's body?
No, you're a man trapped in a woman's body.
You're a little boy trapped in a little girl's body. I am a man in a man's body.
We're not talking about your nightlife.
He constantly got made fun of for his lack of desirability, his lack of social skills, and just his general uncoolness. I have one distinct memory where when I was in my junior or senior year of high school, someone asked me, it's like, oh, Sam, are you going to go to your high school prom? And I was like, no, I'm not going to go. And they were like, well, why aren't you going to go? And I was like, well, because I don't have a date. And a teacher of mine overheard that conversation, and she was sort of like, Sam, I'm just going to be perfectly honest with you here. I don't mean to butt in on your conversation though, but if you really want to find that that romantic love, you might want to settle for being either a gay man or a transgender woman, because then you might have a chance at finding that connectivity that you want. I remember going to another faculty member and complaining about that and saying I'm being bullied, I'm being harassed, and that faculty member got so pissed off at me. He marched me back to her classroom, demanded that I apologize to her, and said that oh, I was in the wrong. She's just there setting realistic expectations. And that's what she said to me. It's I'm not saying this to hurt you. I'm just saying this because you need to set realistic expectations. Not everyone can, find love, get married, find those connections. Sometimes you just have to settle for what you can get.
Asian girls are going out with white guys, black guys, everybody but Asian guys. What's gonna happen to Asian guys? They're gonna go extinct or something? Last week, this Asian guy asked me out, and I was just like, geez, when are they going to realize that Asian girls are just way out of their league?
There has been times where I have wondered why is it that the show bothers you so much? I understand now why it did. I guess at the time for me, it's hard to fully comprehend. It's like the loss of a loved one. You can feel for that person, but unless you went through the same loss, you don't know exactly how it feels like. My experience in high school was very different from Sam's, and what he experienced from Two Broke Girls was something that I never experienced. So while I understood it, I never fully comprehended it the way he did. So there was a period of time where I thought to myself, it's a fictional show. Why do you let it bother you so much? But in retrospective, given kind of where he was at the time, like his confidence level, his lack of quality friendships, I can see how a show like that coming on air right during those key development years of his life would have a pretty negative effect on him.
At one point, when I was like 16, I got a debit card for the first time, and I was super excited about that. I was like, oh, I have a debit card. I could use an ATM for the first time. And then I said that to one of my classmates, and then they literally said back to me, I thought we already had an ATM, Asian transgender male. And I didn't realize it then, but I was like, oh, that's a line from Two Broke Girls that they extracted and then imposed onto me.
No, Sophie, we got an ATM.
I thought we already had an ATM. Asian transgender male.
Well, thank you for saying male.
So all those stereotypes from Two Broke Girls, they just put that onto me because that was the norm at the time.
I'm always worried when Sam would say that he's struggling or something's going wrong, but knowing Sam now for a few years, I knew that that wasn't his entire personality. And just like anyone, we all go through periods of struggle, so I just wanted to be there for him. But I knew that this wasn't all he was going to offer, and I think that it was just cool to be able to be there with him. But also I knew the Sam I met from before, the Sam I know now, and there may be periods in the future where struggles will come, but I know that Sam is more than the turbulence that goes throughout his life.
Yes, Sam would come up to me sometimes in church and just share hard things that were going on in his life, and I saw this as just an opportunity to be a listening ear and to try to encourage him. We all go through seasons like that in our life, and it's so important to have community around you who can encourage you and bear that burden with you. And so I wanted to be a listening ear because I know there would be a time when that would be my life and I would go in through a hard season and I would have a lot of challenges going on in my life that Sam could be there for me. We all go through those seasons, and it's so important just to be there for one another.
You're trauma dumping. It's really unfair to me, and I don't have the emotional bandwidth for this right now.
But I never thought that our whole friendship would just be Sam's drama or whatever. Like, it's the human experience. So.
What was it like for you to finally be able to forgive Two Broke Girls?
Ooh. I feel so clean now being able to say that I fully forgive Two Broke Girls. And I think the reason why I was able to is because of those new media portrayals I've seen. It's no longer the norm that if you're an Asian American guy who's not very tall, that means that your fate is sealed. And I think once that narrative started changing for me, it became much easier to forgive. And also, I think sometimes there's this misconception that when you say you forgive someone, that means you're letting them off the hook. If I'm gonna live my life joyfully now that I have these new portrayals, I cannot continue hanging on to this hate that I have for the show and for that actor.
To me, I wasn't entirely surprised because at the end of the day, that's part of living a Christian life, that ability to forgive. Now, I think it's also very human to hold grudges, and look, it could be a situation where the more the damage, the longer it takes you to forgive someone.
Now, don't come over here with that I'm the boss, you're the waitress look, because I could just as easily give you the I'm the murderer, you're the victim look.
But it did not surprise me that Sam eventually forgave the show.
That's part of the reason why I even wanted to go through all these cosplays today, because it's kind of my way of saying I want to thank, these actors, because that has allowed me to feel so much more comfortable in my body and my skin that I want my attention to be focused on that and not the hatred I have for that show. So that's why I was able to forgive him, and it feels so good.
We're getting this as close as possible. Is it focusing?
There we go. Oh,
I mean,
see it.
That's right there.
There we go.
And if you can, maybe side eye like Luke out towards like a little further out.
I need a hero.
I need a hero.
Don't get me.
Sam,
yeah.
Look down at, or like keep your head straight, and then using your eyes, just like look down at your right hand.
Like that?
Even further down. Go ahead and do it.
Trusting God that He believes in you. Yes, there we go.
Oh wow.
No, gosh. Oh, gosh, that was
nice.
That was
good. Pretty good.
One at a time. Give me your sickest Karate Kid move right now.
Oh.
Let's see it.
But I think it's like a good.
Oh yeah.
Did you feel that?
Oh, that was Spencer wins.
Let me see. Oof.
I swear I'm like I swear like my right leg is starting to get a little sore.
Going for like a blurry look.
Oh.
What made you want to pick up martial arts and start improving your life?
I'll be perfectly honest with you guys. What genuinely made me want to pick up martial arts again was the new Karate Kid movie. I did Taekwondo as a kid, and I ended up quitting that because I had like performance anxiety because I didn't want people watching me as I like ki-ad my way through all my forms. But when I saw that movie, that truly was what made me want to get back into it. And also like me wanting to like sit with my identity, I was thinking like, I got to take care of my body. And if you look at the first episode of the Campfire Council podcast, my face was puffier and I was fatter and I was 30 pounds heavier. So I legitimately was like, you know what? Like I am completely ready to start improving my life and stop meandering around.
I think some of the new projects that have come out, like Shang-Chi, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Karate Kid, it's had a huge impact on Sam's well-being and kind of molding him into who he is now. I think when you're in high school age and you get all these negative Asian stereotypes shoved in your face, it does a lot of negative damage to your psyche. But I think equally so when positive portrayals of Asian Americans are shown in the media. I think that has the opposite effect. You see it in media all the time, like decades ago, when Asians would be portrayed in media, they would kind of be the butt of the jokes. They would never be the sex symbol. They would never be the character that all the ladies are chasing. And I feel like there's been a shift in that, in the sense that Asian Americans, particularly men, are portrayed in more masculine roles. You see them in more leadership roles, and you see them overall just as more desirable figures. And I think that's not only helped Sam change for the better, but I think it's helped a lot of Asian Americans, especially the young men who before lacked self-confidence. They're able to gain a little bit of that and, you know, realize that I have a lot of value to bring to the world and I'm just as capable as anyone else.
Do I think it can be problematic at times? I think it can be at times. I think we do need to be careful. I think a lot of Hollywood and media and movies can be very deceiving and filled with lies and take us down the wrong direction. I think in Sam's case, he has a love and passion for these movies and TV shows, which is awesome. And it inspires him. It's helped give him confidence. I think Sam does a good job of taking those ideas and those thoughts and confirming it with what the Bible says and what Jesus teaches us.
I think it's really cool. I think a lot of people consume media, whether it's movies, TV shows. A lot of people just consume it. Belch it out, so to speak, and without really sitting with it and letting it, the messages that the media is getting across transfer. Some media is just there to be goofy and like doesn't have a particular purpose.
We are here because privacy is a basic human right. How many more princes and his wives have to live in this nightmare?
But in the media, Sam in particular is sharing, it's deeper than that. But in some of these things, it would be easy to just, you know, brush aside of, oh, that was a fun movie without really thinking, oh, how does, you know, what is this trying to say? And Sam so deeply considers that, like, what does this mean? What does this mean for me, especially, like speaking as Sam, what does this mean for me? What does this say about life and identity and fill in the blank there? But I think it's just cool that there's a greater depth by which Sam engages with media than I think maybe the average moviegoer might do.
Sam is a huge cinephile, and I absolutely love movies as well. And so I think it's really cool to be on this project and seeing some of these characters. I watched The Long Walk, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and just being able to see kind of these characters and see how they've affected Sam's life, that's been really awesome to see on this project. And I think that's what's the beauty of movies, is that everyone comes in with different views, different perspectives, different contexts into their movies. And I think that's also a beautiful thing. And in some ways, I would say I sometimes am not as introspective as I feel like I could be when I'm watching a movie, if the deeper theme, and sometimes I'll just be sitting back. But something about Sam that's so so cool is he really thinks about the deeper messaging and the themes of the movie. And also, he just knows every Easter egg. But yeah, it really comes down to, I think we see it in different ways just because of the context we come into the movies with, but also just Sam is such a deep thinker when it comes to movies. And that's something I wouldn't say I'm quite there yet.
It's so cool to see how movies can really impact people's lives in a positive way and a negative way. And I've seen both of that in Sam's life, and it's so cool to be a part of a project like this where we get to talk about that, how much films can impact us. And it's so cool to see Sam in this season of his life, like watching Karate Kid and leaving with more of a positive reflection of Asian American men. Like, that just shows you the power of film, and I love that, and we can connect to it. I love just connecting with the message or a character in a movie and seeing myself in it, and I think that's super similar to what Sam's experience has been and a lot of people's experience has been. Is just, if I can see myself in it, or if I feel something deeply based on an experience I had and an experience the characters in the movie are having, like, you feel less alone. Like, this movie just put words to what you've experienced, and you just can relate and connect, and that is a powerful thing. And so I think Sam and I experience media in a very similar way.
Hey guys, we want to take a quick break from today's video just to bring in a couple special announcements. I've got here two friends with me that couldn't join us in for the shoot today. I've got with me over on my right,
Logan
and
Ethan.
And you may have seen them from a recent video I did with them.
Yeah, we were in a video that's titled The Long Walk, but we actually walked it, where we walked with Sam here and Luke, who is also in this video, and just had the opportunity to discuss the Long Walk movie, themes in it, while we walked together. It was a great conversation during that time.
If you guys also look in the description, you'll find this video as well as another big video that I had just done.
And that is titled Ben Wang Meets His Awkward Twin. It is awesome. It's fun. It's awkward. And it's great. It's great. And then so really want to encourage you to check that out as well. Speaking on Ben Wang's new movie, Brian.
Absolutely. You can find both of those videos in the description below. And I'm really sad that you guys couldn't be there for my actual shoot, but I'm still super grateful that you guys took a moment to celebrate the end of my 20s and the end of my 30s. How do you think my 30s are gonna look?
No! Just because you're turning, maybe better than that. Just good. Maybe good. It's gonna be good. You know, it's gonna be, it's natural. Yeah, it's natural. 30's the new 20. 30's the new great. Natural. You're good. You're golden.
I might add really quick that Logan here is 27 and Ethan's here is 25, and they're both husbands and fathers.
Yeah, it's something.
Anyways, guys, thanks for joining me for this little bit here, and let's get back to the video. All right?
Yes.
Let's do it. And if you guys haven't already, make sure to like this video,
comment, and subscribe.
And also be sure to ring the bell for notifications when new videos drop. Bing! Peace out, guys.
Sam, what year did this movie come out? Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi came out in
Shang-Chi
came out in 2021.
Okay.
So this is one of the second Phase 4 movie after Endgame.
Okay.
So I think it had a lot rooting against it, but it did really, really well. So.
I loved the movie. I saw it in theaters. I thought it was great.
Yeah, and also with the fact that he's finally coming back in Avengers Doomsday.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, he's coming back in Avengers Doomsday. You didn't know?
I did not know that. Holy cow.
Okay.
Have you guys seen Shang-Chi?
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
Shang-Chi, yeah.
It's got to be one of the better. That was Phase 4.
Phase 4. When people say Phase 4 sucks.
Okay, explain for the people maybe that don't know.
Phase 4. So Marvel comes in phases in terms of like when they have like a series of a release of movies. Honestly, the logic to the phases is lost on me now. That I don't entirely understand it, but like there's a study that this Phase 4 of movies where it's all terrible and all bad.
Here's a tweet that you sent. You sent this, and it says, "Me laughing at the people who thought we'd flop." There you go. That's exactly right. Anything but flop.
It's like, did you see Shang-Chi?
Exactly.
Yeah, and there are some other
one
ones.
One of the best Marvel movies, period.
But like, yeah, absolutely. And it's like, that was one of the earlier ones too, so I was like,
Oh,
where
this
are
is
they
gonna be
going
good.
now? And then it was like, for some other ones after that. But like,
Okay.
I think people forget Shang-Chi. I think there's some other good ones
Because
too.
of the other parts of Phase 4,
Yeah,
which is
the
wrong.
other
It
parts.
shouldn't be
Yeah.
treated.
Yeah.
It should be treated
Yeah.
as one of the best Marvel movies like it is.
Because
Really?
it is.
Wow.
Well, and it's not just like, first of all, especially the earlier fight scenes. Choreography there is beautiful, but like the father-son dynamic and like the things that it like commentates on about
Sure.
family wounds and like trying to differentiate an identity and like so cool, so good. That's a
take.
big part of it as well.
Very good.
It's awesome. Watch it.
If you've never seen any superhero movies before, like pre-Endgame,
Okay.
I think most of the time, if you saw any Asian characters in a superhero movie, they were always the ones that needed to be saved, or they were used as some sort of like punching bag, or they were the bad guys. And I remember there was a point in high school where I think like my high school peers and I, we were just like playing a game of like, oh, which superhero would everyone be? And then they had gotten to me and they're like, oh, you can be the IT guy. And I was trying to be like, well, why
Sure.
can't I be a hero? And they were like,
Yeah.
well, you should be grateful we included you at all. And I was like, what?
That's ridiculous.
So
Wow.
this was also during the pandemic too. So theaters are only just opening back up, and people were referring to COVID as the China virus. So with something like that coming out, it definitely provides that extra sense of security, I would say, to know that we're not all the bad guys here, which I think helps a lot.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Great answer. Great fit.
You know, one thing that I haven't mentioned before is that, like, shortly before Everything Ever All at Once came out, I was kind of dealing with thoughts of not wanting to continue to live anymore. And it was all these perpetuated stereotypes that Two Broke Girls had caused. So when Everything Ever All at Once came out, there was that scene where, like, Waymond is giving his kindness speech, and I swear, I don't think there's words to describe it. I watched it and was sort of like, oh my gosh, everything is so clear now. You know, oftentimes I feel like there's this kind of this misconception that like in order to be a strong masculine guy, you have to like portray yourself to be like tough and angry. But then you see in that long monologue that like that kindness and that warmth is what that true healthy masculinity looked like. And it made me feel not ashamed to continue just being me. I didn't have to put on a persona. I could just be my silly old self and, you know, it's all good.
Let's just go like hands in pockets.
Hands in these pockets?
Yeah,
Or
I like
like
that. I actually like this.
Oh, you like this better? Yeah, yeah.
Well, let's do both.
All right. All right, well, I'm getting a few more shots. I brought the Oscar trophy with me, a custom-made one. I didn't actually win one. If you guys see the first episode of the Campfire Council podcast, I brought this with me. And Luke, you got to hold it.
Yeah, it was
Right.
sick to hold. It was sick to see. So
I know.
go
It has some
check
weight
out.
to it, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, this one, it's categorized at most. I created a brand new category. I created most inspirational motion picture. And then, yeah, so it's their unofficial 8th Oscar that
awesome.
I've created for them. And Chin's going to get a few more shots of me with this trophy. And then after that, we'll be moving on to the next outfit. So
sounds good.
Let's do that. All right, Chin, you ready for me?
What are your thoughts on the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Phenomenal movie. Truthfully, the first watch through is a little confusing, but I think that's part of what makes it so great.
Yeah.
Characters are phenomenal, and it ends so grounded. I don't want to spoil it, of course, but love the movie.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Man, what a stud. Just an absolute looker over here.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the filming process right now?
We just got some baller photos of Sam in his outfit from Everything Everywhere All at Once.
My Waymond outfit, though. I will say, though, these glasses are not mine, so when I put them on, I can't, like, see crap. It's so crap. I was like, I can't.
It's all about the look.
It's about the look, though. But, my gosh, Key, if you're watching this, though, your performance just destroyed me in the best possible way. So, but no, these photos look fantastic. So I can't.
Should we see
I
if we can
cannot.
get a-
Yeah, let's get at some of the.
Let's take a look.
Can we see it?
Wow, this is. It is hard to get to focus, especially because I don't know what.
I can insert.
Oh, you can tap on it. It's crazy.
Wonderful. Let's see. See how we look. Oh, nice. Oh, that one was good. That was. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I love that one though.
Cool.
To the cast of Everything Ever All at Once, if you guys are ever watching this, this is your unofficial 8th Oscar for being the most inspirational motion picture in my eyes. So, if I ever meet you guys, this one's for you.
Let's
so
go.
Thank you.
Woo!
Woo. All right.
Come on, son.
Tyler, what do you think of the shoot so far?
Super fun. It's been awesome. Just even just in between takes or in between, interviews to just have a chance to connect with everybody and just see how everyone's doing. It's just such an interesting group of people. So really, really fun to just be with everybody.
Yeah. And you haven't seen Everything Ever All at Once, have you yet?
I have not. I was just my wife and I were just talking about it. Because I was in preparation for the shoot. I'm like, man, I didn't get to this one, but I want to. And she's like, yeah, it sounds like a really good one. So we'll probably. You're inspiring me to go take a look at it because it sounds like an awesome movie.
Yeah, definitely go watch it though. All right, shall I get my next outfit on?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go.
Is that the Karate Kid?
Is that him?
Is that him? Oh my gosh. Is that the Karate Kid?
Like it's
no way.
Oh yeah, no, there was a point where I got confused by 20 kids as the new Karate Kid, and now look at that, I actually am.
You are him.
So Ben, if you're watching this and kids thought I was you, I totally took credit for it. And I'm sorry.
There he is.
Do a kick. The big thing for me is that after I saw Karate Kid Legends the second time in theaters, I was leaving the theater and there was like a group of 20 kids that were hosting like a birthday party in one of those party rooms. And as I was preparing to leave, there was this one kid. He thought I was the Karate Kid. So you hear him like going, Daddy, 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 it's the Karate Kid. And then the dad comes over to me and he's like, listen, son, like, I know you're not the new Karate Kid, but like I'm one dad here and there's like 20 kids like screaming across the room and I don't want theater security to throw us out. Can you just like come over and say hi and just calm them down? Like, I'm sorry to bother you. So I was like, okay. And then I went over and these kids are like, so what was it like working like with Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan? Can you do the dragon kick for us? And I don't know what to say. So I was like, literally, I was just like, okay, kids, like in the movie world, we have these things called stunt doubles and you get put on wires. So that's why I can't do the dragon kick for you guys right now. And then you see these kids, 20 kids in unison, looking up at me going like, oh, that makes sense now. That's why when he did the dragon kick, it like looks like that. But I realized it's like a complete 180 to what happened with me with Two Broke Girls. People were trying to impose the Two Broke Girls character, Han Leon, to me. But those are my peers who did that intentionally. And then you have little like 4 to 6-year-old children who don't know any better. And I did my first episode of the Campfire Council podcast. And one of the comment threads was on there being like, has anyone ever told Sam he looks like Ben Wang from like Karate Kid Legends? And then the thread continued and it says, yeah, if you go on the Lionsgate YouTube page and you look at the announcement video of Ben Wang getting cast as Wyatt Kallo for the next Hunger Games movie, he kind of looks like him. And then I compared photos and I was like, actually, yeah, given the way we both smile, I can kind of see that. So when things like that happen, I genuinely don't believe that's some weird coincidence. I think Jesus had me go through all of these trials and tribulations to get to this moment. So I can truly see within myself that I'm perfect just the way that I am. And that feels amazing.
Does this game fun?
Yes.
Hi.
How's Sam doing?
He's doing great. Wonderful. Fantastic. Amazing.
Nice. Whoa. So I'm gonna need you to keep looking great. And then, so yeah, hands in the pockets.
Yep.
And you're kind of looking past Chin's right shoulder.
Past Chin's right shoulder,
Yep.
like my head, like looking down like this.
Yeah, just like that.
Okay.
And then kind of looking out towards this way. Like kind of just look at me.
So facing towards Chin's
Yep, exactly how you are.
right shoulder.
Just look towards me.
Just look towards you? Okay.
Yep. All right, Jim, I'm doing a gym check-in here.
All
what
right,
has been your favorite cosplay so far?
That's a good question. It might be this one.
Okay.
I say that because I think the suit was good. I think maybe it's a little bit long in certain places, so maybe not. Could be better tailored. It was decently tailored, but could be better tailored. But I think this fits him well. Yeah.
All right. Tyler, what do you think?
I mean, I think the fact that he has a real, like the actual movie prop on him is
It
really
is pretty
cool.
neat.
But his Karate Kid look is so iconic too.
Yeah.
Like it's I think it's hilarious. A bunch of a birthday party of kids thought he was a Karate Kid, and he basically inspired them to eat their vegetables, or however the story goes. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That one's pretty. The Karate Kid was pretty iconic.
And what I really like about it too is that like
that's like Sam fully embracing like the Asian part of his life, and you know, like him starting karate, you know, starting that back up. So
building confidence through that. And,
and
getting more fit through that.
We were talking about that, of like how when he was first on the podcast where I was saying he was a little bit more reserved and kind of like kept to himself and like was in a shell.
Yeah.
And now, he's lost a ton of weight, obviously, and he's doing things to better himself and take care of himself. So it's just cool to see that.
Coming out of the shell, literally, figuratively, and literally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Spence. What's been the favorite costume so far?
Oh my goodness. It's got to be this one also.
Mhm.
I mean, can we get a quick live action?
Right, we can get the camera off your face. I know that's what you want.
I mean,
right.
just the vibe. It just all works so well.
Yeah,
and I
100%.
Oh, nice.
So Sam, I was just asking some of the guys here
Yeah.
like what their favorite cosplay is, and so far everyone has said this one.
This one?
Yeah, I think everyone's liked this one the best.
Yeah,
I personally like the Karate Kid one,
I
just
also
because
liked
of like the fit.
everything all everywhere all at once.
Yeah.
Good point.
The suits, the sleeper.
Yep.
Oh, there goes
Sam's
that.
gonna be like, oh, I had 20 clementines today. You know what I mean? Like
Clementines.
Yeah. The first man to overdose on clementine.
Exactly, yeah.
What is it? Vitamin C, right? Vitamin C overdose.
A lot of vitamin C. You did see the long walk.
Yes, I did.
What'd you think of it?
I highly recommend it. Excellent movie. I
Okay.
think I was expecting it to be, from what I heard of it, just like a normal, typical movie in that sense that they're going the direction. But the movie's excellent. It's a good thinker. It makes you think a lot, and it's a good watch. I highly recommend it.
Yeah. When I used to think back, if Sam was capable of changing for the better, I'll be honest, there was a time where I felt it was kind of hopeless because no method of parenting, no style of nurturing seemed to work. I would say there was probably a little bit of feeling of lost hope. What are we going to do to get him on the right track? And for a while, we didn't have any good answers. As an older brother, I felt like Sam was in a very helpless position, and I also felt like I was helpless to help him because we are not that far apart in age, but we're kind of far apart in age. So we had different social circles growing up, so that the things that worked for me didn't necessarily work for him. So I would try to pass down what I could, but not all of those solutions were pragmatic in Sam's situation. I think Sam at a point was a little bit too much of a tryhard. It's understandable because when you feel like life keeps pushing you down, you want to make that positive mark so where people can see you in a different light, and sometimes you almost have to overcompensate. I think to understand and appreciate how Sam handles his friendships now, you need a little bit of context here. Sam struggled early on with friendships in the sense that, you know, the moment he made a really good friend, it was almost a little bit too clingy. Like, I can't let this friendship go. I've got to hold on to it as best as I can. And sometimes you end up putting those friends on a pedestal. So in a way, it's almost like some form of worship in an unhealthy way. I think when you put people on pedestals, it almost gives the friend a little bit of a power trip, like, oh, you think this highly of me. So it raises their status, but it lowers your status. And on top of that, you're always constantly wondering, is this a 50-50 friendship? Am I the one that's always reaching out? And I think these things just mixed with other healthy habits, it's just not healthy for a friendship. And I think now Sam is matured to a point where, you know, he values his friendships, but he realizes that, hey, listen, everyone's going to have an off day at some point, and I don't need to put them on a pedestal because I'm also a great person, and I deserve to be loved just as much.
I feel like we're at that point in the shoot where we've bonded a lot, where we're like starting to finish each other's.
Yeah.
I would say Luca is actually really good.
Oh.
Right. No, I got what you were. No,
But no, like we're finishing each other's.
Wait. Let's just pretend we were doing it. Right. Okay. Go again.
Oh, okay. I feel like we just got into that point.
Sentences. Nice. Yeah.
Jim, you
No,
look
you're a
great
pro
on
at this
camera,
point.
bro.
Yeah.
I think everyone's warmed up to the camera.
Yeah.
I think because I forced people to warm up to the camera.
Yeah.
But also I think people.
But
have
that's what I
warmed
mean,
up
though.
to the
That's
camera.
why Joey was saying, like, you have like a very like
niche area with just, I think, like a vlogging style sort of thing.
I feel like we're like born for this, bro.
There's something to proximity that can have strengthen relationships, right? And yet many of my closest friends I'm only seeing every once in a while. And there's a degree of reaching out to those people and like keeping up, and with technology today, as much as it can be a curse, there's also the blessing of, being able to stay connected as long as we're using that to be connected and not just envy other people around us. Even without that, quality of relationship is built by quality of time, not necessarily quantity of time. And perhaps in some cases, quantity of time is greater chance for quality of time, but not always. It's more about the intention behind the time that you have and that you're given with a person. How are you making use of that time? How are you pursuing them in relationship? Not so much, oh, I'm in proximity to this person, so therefore we must be close. This brings up the question of the loneliness epidemic. We can have people around us all the time, and this impacts both men and women, but it impacts men even harder. I'm making a blanket statement here, but a lot of times men struggle to go deep in relationships, and there can be a sense of surface level talk at times. And if that's all the talk is, you're not really getting the depth and quality of relationships that we need as human beings. And so depth in relationship, again, it's what we do with the time we have with people. What is the quality of that time we are pursuing? But then are we also getting into like, how are you doing? Like, how are you really doing? How is life? And following up each time as well.
I think that the idea that likes determine your worth is super dangerous. And I think back even to when I was on Instagram years ago, how I would feel depending on how many likes a post got. And I think just in general that with the rising social media culture, with the numbers and the likes and the thumbs up, that's become almost a signal to people that they're doing something right. When in reality, 20, 30 years ago, that wasn't even a thing. So it's kind of this new reality that's being formed. And I just think it's incredibly dangerous because we are so much more than our social media likes, our approval, our performance reviews. We're so much more than that. We're human beings, and I just think that can be a dangerous concept to fall into, and just to know that we're loved and we're deeply loved. So no matter how many likes we get, 0, if we even have social media, is just something important to keep in mind.
So it's in a way it's weird to call it a privilege because of course you want to see your friends frequently, but I see Sam in bursts of time here and there and such, as we're not closest in proximity to each other. But as a result, it's been cool to see the jumps in growth and development in Sam as a person. Certainly has grown in confidence. It's been cool to just see the way in which he's leaning into what he's passionate about. Again, first impression there, that hasn't changed. But his expression for sharing that with others, again, in confidence, in like, this is me and also there's something here for you. Even if it's not like, of course, we're not all going to take the same lessons from these things, but, his ability to kind of outreach more and bolder in what he's learning about and such has just been a cool thing to see over the course of time.
What changes have you seen in Sam recently?
I feel like being more level-headed is one.
Awesome.
He's also a pretty deep thinker. Of course, he was like that even before, but I think he's always had a lot of perspective on things like the world. I just feel like, it's deeper and, for lack of a better term, a more positive state of mind, I think. Yeah.
That's
how
totally
I
see
describe
that. Yeah,
it.
100%.
Yeah.
Just doing a little brother check-in here.
Of course, yeah, always.
I feel like Sam has changed a lot from the time I've known him. And I think part of it is Sam's gotten out of his shell more. I think initially it was that connection that we could all get together about movies. But now Sam is like just opening up to different things, more people. I mean, he's lost over 30 pounds. He's getting into his workout routines. I mean, digging deeper into his YouTube channel. There's been so many cool things I've seen Sam do as this relationship has evolved. And I feel like he's really opening up and digging back into things that he's passionate about and that are going to be good for him.
What do we got here, Sam?
So we've got Gary DeSnake from Zootopia 2. Jim and I have a little running gag when it comes to snake. Hey, Jim, can you come over here for a second?
Hey.
So, Jim, clearly you and I, we have a funny relationship when it just comes to snakes in general.
We do,
yeah.
What do you guys mean by that?
We have a family member who is deathly terrified of snakes to a ridiculous degree. even think of like Ekans or like, you know, a Pokemon.
Yep,
Like
yep,
that.
right.
They will be deathly terrified. So they don't like snakes because of like that slimy, scaly, you know, hide, which they're okay with alligators and other reptiles, but not snakes. So.
Yeah. I feel that. I personally, I don't like snakes. I don't like
But you
touching
can,
them.
but you can handle like cartoon snakes, right?
Yeah,
like,
cartoon
The
snakes
word
is fine. Look at
slither
them.
sends
Yeah,
a
look at
literal
them.
shake down their spine. So.
Yeah, so it's, but no, it's special to us, not just because it's Kiwi Quan playing the snake, but it's because he is a snake.
I wouldn't say there was any point I feel it would never come out of his shell. At first I thought Mike kind of just stay where he's comfortable, but that's just so natural. I could think about that with anyone. So I think that there definitely was a point where I was like, I don't know if Sam's gonna fully come out of his shell, but here we are. And Sam is thriving, and yeah, it's been really cool to see.
It's so cool.
Tyler, come in here. Come here.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
No way, I love it. Can you like Photoshop in those, those words too?
Oh yeah,
I could try.
That's cool. That's
I
cool.
could try.
Walker
You
Dead.
should, because then it has the number 46 and the W there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
46 is on there.
So I think part of this that's so cool is this is Sam's Turning 30 project, and kind of one of the themes we're touching on is not feeling like you've accomplished enough or done enough by the time you're 30, but I think almost without even realizing it, what's so cool is what Sam is creating, and these videos and this channel and the message he's producing with it, even maybe without him knowing it, he's creating something incredible by the time he turned 30, which is just so cool that it's a wonderful thing. That's it.
Dude, real though, so true.
There's very common pressures that a lot of people, 20s, 30s deal with. It's pressures that people of all many ages deal with. But in 20s and 30s, especially that late 20s, early 30s stage, I think there's this idea that even more so that we have to have things figured out. Because I mean, I think about the number. Let's use 30 as an example, because that's what Sam is turning here. 30 seems like such this old number, and like, 30 is when I'll have life figured out. And then you find out you're not.
Well, I know you were looking for someone early to mid-20s. I'm slightly older.
Right. How old?
I just turned 29.
Recently?
Last year.
So you're 29?
Last year.
And how old are you, like, right now?
1 more year older.
So 30?
Yeah. 32.
There's some anecdotal data for the most part, but there's something pointing to on our birthdays, we feel less happy and satisfied because a lot of times we start to, on that day, reflect on everything we haven't done and accomplished by this point. So there's a high standard a lot of people hold themselves to. A lot of that is culturally influenced in such a production-based culture, but then also just the age timing doesn't help as we give ourselves this illusion that we should have life figured out by now, and we don't.
I feel like there's just this concept, especially here in the States, of the competitiveness of life and just as you age where you're supposed to be at a certain age. It's this timeline that I think growing up a lot of us come into life with. And I think what's really toxic about that timeline is that nobody's story is the same, nobody's life is the same, and the measures of success are just determined by the person themselves. So culture may tell us the measure of success is your bank account, but in reality, you're going to die and you're not going to have that anymore. So I think that really a big thing about this timeline is that it's misconstrued. There's not really a good definitive measure of where you're supposed to be. And I think that's important to remember, because when you compare yourself to others and where you're supposed to be, there's always going to be somebody better. There's always going to be someone that's farther along or farther behind. So even if you're comparing there. So I just think the game of comparison is so dangerous.
We see a lot of people when they get to certain ages, when they reach, when you're in high school, when you reach your 20s, when you reach your 30s, your 50s, etc., that there's certain things in place, especially in America. It's all about like living the dream, getting the perfect home, finding the perfect spouse, having kids, having the perfect job. I think all those things are wonderful and great. I think it's also important to remember that each person is different. I'm at a certain point in my life where someone else might not be, or someone else might be further along, and I think that's totally fine. I think society places a lot of pressure on certain ages and how we should be and things that we need to be doing. I think it's just important to understand that you're doing great for where you're at, and there's always areas in our life that we can improve and work on. I think if we can just focus on our personal goals, it's going to be different for everyone's timing. And I don't think we should have expectations that the society and the world puts on us. I think when Sam presented this idea for the project that he's doing, and when he asked me to be on it, I was super excited. I was honored to be a part of this because it's something I think that a lot of us don't always think about or talk about enough, where it's, once again, it's like we assume we turn 30 years old that we're going to have these things in place, have these things in order. And in Sam's case, like, that's not the case. I think that's totally okay. I think the optimism and the happiness that Sam has going into his 30s and understanding that he's not quite where society wants him to be at, I think is a beautiful and a very mature and a healthy place to be.
Are you scared of turning 30?
Honestly speaking, no, I am not. I think once you go through the things that I have and feel comfortable in your own skin, I think feeling comfortable in your own skin ultimately is what's going to help you through any sort of like life tribulations that come your way. So no, I am not scared about it one bit. In fact, I cannot wait to turn 30.
Let's go.
Alrighty, so I'm here with the guys here, and we are officially wrapped on the I'm turning 30 with nothing, but I've never been more hopeful. And I'm here with Chin, Jim, Joey, Tyler, and to my surprise, there's Ethan. Oh my gosh, where is he coming from?
Get here.
But guys, thank you again so much for joining me on this shoot. I had an absolute blast.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is going to be the last footage of me being 29. So I can't wait to turn 30. All right, peace out, guys.
Peace.